and say there are many sides to a story. It's your side, the next man inside, and allow the public for judge. And that's more the reason why all the time I can tell people say that we be tolerant to the views of other people. Because, come on, you know, get monopoly over knowledge, and the fact is, not all the time that you're right. Sometimes listen to other people and, you know, get sense, make sense out of perhaps the nonsense within they say. But nonetheless, me and Samuel Ibrahim Kuruma, and inside the program today, we can look at me inside the Feed Salone initiative, my new listener initiative, where the President Bill-led governments be launched prior to second coming of government. And the Feed Salone initiative, since the launch, don't take well over 2 years. And so the Feed Salone initiative, are things getting better. Since the launch of the Feed Salone initiative, things don't get better in terms of production and productivity. Most times it is said that a country when able to feed itself, you consider saying a country way one, not peaceful, two, I can't give away no what for letting call him a country. Now the studio I get with me two fine gentlemen. Imran Sillah, we na a member of the National Publicity Team for of course the ruling SLPP. And similarly so, Honorable Abdul Karim Hamid Kamarawi, they represent the main opposition All People's Congress Party, we're not the APC Party. Gentlemen, I have a pleasure for getting out of the studios this evening. Good evening, Imran, and good evening, Honorable AKK.
Good evening. Plenty, thank you for the opportunity.
Already, we don't lay the premise. The topic revolves around the Feed Salone initiative. Are things getting better since the launch of the Feed Salone initiative? We get to look at so many things, so many indicators. But, Imran, I want to start off with you. This question will come up at a time where the global hunger index puts Salone at 108 out of 123 countries. By the indications, then see Salone among countries that we seriously hungry. Imran, try to connect the dots, help the public connect the dots as to the initiative will help for ensure say people they will eat, go eating and eat. And it's within and go as opposed to the indications how still they get from a global stage. Imran, help people understand.
Thank you again for the opportunity. Now precisely because of the kind of data and statistics there, we done they come out severally. Going back from a very long time. Now I inform His Excellency the President as will be the go into the campaign for the second time in 2023, for let it consider as to which is supposed to be the key takeaways from a manifesto. And one of them things then will be the Feed Salone project, also, and food security and agriculture. So that we'll be able to turn the tide on some of the data there, stop the hemorrhaging, begin for put together concrete plans as to how we move forward, and make sure say we're able for grow the things that we will eat in this country. And therefore, make you always say if you get agriculture right, it get rippling effects on the economy, on foreign exchange, on stability of the leones, and making sure say the leones improve us against the dollar, and they make sure so we reduce the level of importation into this country. Over and above all that, if you look at the Big Five in the manifesto, we translate itself into the medium-term national development plan with the end until 2030. You clearly see a trajectory, as to how them Big Five takeaways them interconnect. Between agriculture, food security, you also talk about employment and opportunities for people in rural communities. You also talk about feeder roads, making sure say them people where they harvest them products and they get the right kind of a road for able for bring them come into urban centers and eventually into Freetown and all of the incidents. So there's a connection on all of the Big Five. Now, look how we did on the Feed Salone project, as against how been there 5 years back, let's say 10 years back. One key indicator I can always give at this, from the time that we were born to now, I have never seen a situation in this country through several administrations, where the price of rice don't go up, they don't left they go up and they reduce back by 20%.
But we talk about imported rice. Not all local guys we talk about.
Yeah. So the dynamics, they're interconnected, they're interwoven, inextricably intertwined, no matter the way you look at them. Yeah. We have never had a period in this country. Nobody can name me one single period where rice don't drop by 20% in this country. Full stop. And that is so because we're able to boost rice production. We boost rice production, it means the level of imports naturally get for reduced. You see the one that we're involved in importation now they translate, and I mean, not to translate, now they transition into local production. Yeah? We have seen also a lot of investment by His Excellency the President and in government on food security. So one of the early initiatives then, remember, say His Excellency the President, we go Vienna. He went to Vienna on a roundtable conference for try to attract funding for both agriculture, food security, and energy.
Imran, we talk on that OPEC funding. We not been one way.
No. The point I'm making is this. They talk about project implementation and programs with our resources for Duam. And if you're generating own resources locally, you also now get to look to with partners them internationally for make sure them buy into the viability of your vision for able to make the necessary investment. Then I make you attracting and kind of money then they not just they happen by chance, not by accident.
Honorable, the topic again now, the Feed Salone initiative. Are we, things getting better? Ask Imran with regard statistics on a global stage.
I only try for. I just don't begin for lady premise.
Honorable, are things getting better? Taking into cognizance, taking a cue from Imran with regards the current state of affairs with imported rice against the local rice. I think it's getting better.
Some conversation like this, you keep the data first, because also currently when it comes to international data, we all are Sierra Leoneans for the bow we head down in shame, because we are not making progress. Whether it's at the level of the economy, the rating of our economy, whether it's at the rating of our hunger index, WFP index, the World Bank, we internal ratings and we own local sailing and they do. We are not doing well as a country. And this is reflective so in the supplementary budget the government passed recently, in which we see huge cuts in almost every sector, except for the office of the president who said they add more money, and the office of the chief minister who see they increase more money. But even the agriculture sector, who say when they talk about say we get huge growth, then cut the agriculture budget down to, from 747 million, then cut them down to almost 240%. This is the agriculture budget. You don't do that to a sector you hope to invest greatly, and you believe in a key sector we're responsible for drive change. He has just been very clever to say the effect on agriculture, you understand, is not just the production of the rice and the carrots and the other thing, but you get multiple effects. So if government thinks agriculture is that much sensitive that it gets impact on the nation, if the Feed Salone is a success story, within government for don't invest more in the Feed Salone, what they do, they cut down the budgetary allocation. Why? We reach a point where for 7 good years, the SRP-led government don't they do the Tomabom drainage system. Last say to Imran that for 7 good years, with all the money we don't spend on Tomabom, we've just done 35% of the drainage in 7 years. So if left in the SRP alone, follow we complete the drainage for Tomabom, we need 21 good years follow we complete. And because in 7 years, with all the money and the donors we don't get, we've only done 35%. This is bad for agriculture. And the Romben swamp within Lokomasama, where these are the 2 areas, and that's of Sam Musa and for do solid irrigations, because the idea of planting is for get a production of rice production right around the clock, 9 months, 3 times or 4 times a year, and that is why we're doing this. And with all the ideas we don't put in, we've not completed 1 irrigations. That makes some basic analysis. We understand we safe. It talks about the drop in rice production. What I expect Imran and all of the posts we now talk man for government. Now for tell we now, say if you go na shop na Abacha Street, you will buy the local rice there. If you go na shop na Cambia, you will buy the rest at the shop, because agriculture is not just about production, it's also about value addition. So by then, don't see we own local rest in the market if at all agriculture is booming. But as I speak, Imran no knows they sell the Salone rest. Again, one of the most insulting things what we get from this administration, where Imran the boast up is say we have a situation in which today people with the import rest don't go into agriculture. I see people they celebrate, say, oh, they produce yabas now. Go now, Lokomasama, that area outside they produce the yabas. If you see that yabas in the market, and the post where they supply, for business reasons, I will not name the post where they for name say, oh, if they do into rice, if they do now, they don't come into local farm, local production, where government don't support and so much. Go to in your own shops, them what it get around the country, all in with them. If you see the local produce where they make the
Honorable, with that being said, you mentioned 2 areas. I remember the Gombe project when the Vice President will launch
and you were there.
Port Local districts. We, of course, Imran might respond to same, but nonetheless, Honorable, we don't see massive. We don't see massive finance. The government puts massive finance into tractorization. When one of the means for ensure, the year-round cultivation we just mentioned, let you come to fusion. Things the impact is seen in many areas. We will talk about it.
Something that we are like, and this is what is helping us as political class, is the fact that whether you talk to the people in civil society, whether the media, we similarly know the read we look at reports. And it allow we as politicians to get a free breathing space. Even the university students, the lecturers, they use we local reports as part of their lesson to the student them. So waiting to happen, we politicians then get a breathing space we free. You are talking about the machines. If you read the 2022-2023 audit report, it clearly say from 2018, all the machines they don't buy as a country, they're all faulty. And the one way they buy the tractors we talk about, so they don't even get a spare part na Salone. So when they get problem na Salone, let's say what they do. We had what we call agriculture business units, ABUs. Then ABCs, Then ABCs and they be in almost every chiefdom. And then you get all the machines and they people in one work within the areas and they go meet them.
But that was hugely politicized. We see a situation where in most of the ABCs ABCs the way they run in partnership with the powerman chiefs them. Now most of them get the powerman chiefs. Now most of them get the tractors them way.
Let's say this. They were politicized at the level of having the powerman chiefs to sit on them because they were chiefdom properties. Then give them to the chiefdom. Who you want work, Ibrahim want work, he didn't have careful below me. They go meet the chief, you get the post where they run them, you get the ABC, who say they produce, and then they go help you do harvest.
Yeah, these are the agricultural business centers. And we not only stop there, we brought in the agricultural banks into chiefdoms. So you go get loan, they go they assess your farm, they know how much money for give you, so you go able to do the loans. All of this was abandoned. But most of them are AKKs.
Now that's where I want to come. It was abandoned and say, just like the same reason we say they have been politicized. And we come with what? Ring with some farmers, ring suppliers, where you go meet, you get farm, it go work for you. But guess what? After we give them the machine, the ring operators today are telling you the machines are not working because simple reasons. Because their machines and they not even get spare parts now. Go to Kisi. If you read the 2025 audit report, we talk about performance in the agriculture sector. Go to Kisi. All the machines they will buy from 2000, all the harvesters from 2018 to now. Let me tell you what thing they shock me. And this is where me and one person we don't talk say. I am not like when Imran Sillah they say the president they travel. I am not against the president traveling just because of the expenditure, but because if the president they in country, if they able to see some of them how they explain it, they able to listen to we, and if they able go let go na Kisi. Now the agriculture warehouse within Nakisi, you meet the machines you don't buy from 2018, 30 and guess what? All those ministers, all those procurement professionals who did most of those things are working out free after the huge waste of our economy.
Imran, Honorable paints some worrying statistics, one of which is that of the Tomabom project, the irrigation facility where they do. I suppose now Ali Mupavi for they do that facility. Recently we see an inspection exercise where they don't know the way fund that money they come there, and they were a bit worried with regards to the snail pace of things. You want respond to say?
So we tell me probably the attempt for doing this conversation for segment term. Okay. Yeah. Because we tell me brother they do. You sort of like they put the cart before the horse, yeah? And I nothing say appropriate. Let us talk about what has happened. What has happened in terms of the positive outlook, yeah? And then you be able to appreciate and acknowledge, yeah, in terms of what is the direction forward. So if you segment them in then two ways, then you get a clear sense as to which is happy now, over the past 2 years, and even before now, even before His Excellency the President included in the Big Five, in the manifesto. And then you get a sense as to what could possibly happen. What could possibly happen might include some of the conversations that our AKK they talk about, so in terms of the direction, which are the challenges. Because me always can see things in terms of what would you call solution focus on a scale of 1 to 10. Who's are we there now in agriculture?
So if you say we're on a scale of 1 to 10.
Also, out there now in agriculture against how been there 10, 15 years back. It gives you a sense about direction and trajectory. But then it also helps you in that same solution focus mechanism there. It helps you to now say, oh, well, assuming you're on a 7, right, out of 10, what do we need to do to get to an 8, to get to a 9? This is something that occupies the mind of His Excellency the President on a daily basis, yeah? Because His Excellency the President and this government will believe in finding solutions. It not means a challenge is not there. It not means say things that you don't need for tweak and change. Right? That is what governments live for. Yeah? But it's how you get there. You have to understand exactly usa you did, for appreciate usa you need for go and how you need for get there. So, given that as the context and the premise what I done set earlier, let's just say a few things which are factual. Number one, last year we boost agricultural production, rice production by 8%. Yeah? That 8% now translates to 13% slash in imports. And it translates into leones, do the equivalent in dollars, into $15 million in foreign exchange. We needed less, 15 million less in terms of which you get for cost for import rice Canada this country.
So how much you spend
on a yearly basis, number one. Number two, we also know say the very WFP way is cites just now. The very WFP in the report, why can not go mention that? Because not go serve your conversation in the way we want for let it go. The very WFP say 30% of the rice now, where they get is being locally produced. Now, I would think that if AKK they talk about within season are the problem, it's supposed to also be worthwhile for them also mention this. So, well, WFP not talk all thing bad.
But that's statistics.
No, I'm just making a point. Let us talk about, let's also now talk about egg imports, we don't be reduced by 21%, yeah? And local onions are now cheaper than imported ones. For the first time, we are now exporting vegetable oil. Now, I'll give you some very practical and illustrative example. I remember there was a project under the World Bank through the Ministry of Finance.
Which project?
Agro-processing industry sector. It was being funded by the World Bank. And now they've been to look at local farmers, whether you're into livestock, into rice and all that thing. And we ended up going to a place in Bo and Kenema where they do gari production and how they transition out. Then they also get a poultry and a pond. So they also do fish production and, and then they do poultry. One of the places that will go forever, be etched in my mind, now Jamje Enterprise. This is in Tonkolili district. In fact, one of the places that will probably they assume say, now on our own block vote, when I don't want block votes, then they come out. Tonkolili district, not that place, but Tonkolili district. Jamje said to me, I meet her in person, I run through in farm. We go there, we took pictures, we did videos, we did interviews with him. One of the first thing that he said to me, he said, Imran, he said, I'm a millionaire in dollars. Just on rice production, and that he was hoping to double, if not triple, right, the productivity of rice over the next 2-3 years. What am I trying to say? The point is, we deal with our data in terms of the data and statistics simply because things are happening. Now, it is more of those things at a double pace Now I'm going for make sure, say, we get to a point where we sufficiently not get for rely on the importation of rice. Salone for the very first time now with the export oil, not so? Vegetable oil. We're doing it. We're producing paddy oil and all that in dinner. So onions is also being locally produced. There was a time where, I think it was about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, where some challenge been done with onions and it be look slow, small at the market. No, so it be look scarce, small at the market. From that time day to now, we have seen an abundance of onions in the market, flooding the market. Yes, there are importations, but those importations are also being slashed. And we're now diligently, because of the interventions, because of the policies, plans, and programs of government through the Ministry of Agriculture, we now see farmers them get concrete plans and efforts for make sure so able for the generate things in locally. On the issue of the machine stem, I remember going to McKinney. So all the places there are the sites now, this is not a place where you say, well, say we will also get this kind of a political lens way for look at things. This was in McKinney, and I was talking to somebody, I don't mention his name there because asked me for mentioning him. And he said to me, he said, the machine stem, it's also today for talk. He said, me not to sell people. But I have benefited from it. He said, me farm. He said, the machines, they can't work there. Now, what does it say and what does it suggest? It suggests the original idea and intention of making sure that you have those machineries and that people in those communities are able to access those machineries. It don't work and it don't work. Does it mean now that every single one panel side and they not go get their own things that you need for tweak and change? Well, absolutely.
Imran,
at the start of this conversation, just in 10 seconds, at the start of this conversation, Adameka said, let us segment it. Yeah?
Imran.
Let us look at what we have achieved in 2 years. Yeah? AKK is supposed to be able to mention the very WFP report where they talk about 30% of the rice and the demand now has been locally
Imran,
and then we can now talk about
Imran,
how do we now move forward
arguably during President being first time in office, a carry waiting and called the machinery system.
Yeah.
And we see many areas, huge amounts of land was put under cultivation.
Yeah.
But it required impact in terms of outputs. Now then farming they seem where it looked there below. Waiting farmers didn't expect. You cannot just expect farmers to invest so much and get 2 tons per hectare. Whereas other countries then do extremely well, they get 6-7 tons per hectare. It seems we make 3 steps forward and like 4 steps back.
No, I don't think so. So that is where again it's about how do we move forward? Yeah. What's within the issue?
What do you think are the visible indicators them where you feel say government they will achieve within say it's 2 years since the launch of the feed salon indicator?
Well,
the feed salon program.
You tempt me now for state the thing that I don't already say because probably something you're not be
because no it's not of course come on Imran.
No, let's just say this again. Let's just make the point again. Yeah. Rice production don't be boosted by 8%. Weather help for slash imports by 13%. And you don't save with $15 million. So this is talk about 100, 200, 300,000. We also know the huge commitment. When I mentioned His Excellency the President's visit to Vienna, that was $800 million commitment for both the feed salon project and energy. We know 2-3 months after that 800 million, right, being get an additional $200 million worth. My point is this. There is no way you can talk about your aspirations and your desire and how you want to move forward without the necessary cash injection. And we get the right amount of investment and cash injection, now that make we see the results, then the trickle in. So where egg imports reduced by 21%, not a miracle. Happen because somebody just suddenly gets a magic wand and just say, hey, let it be. No. 21%, not to 1, 2, 3%. That shows a deliberate plan and policy to get it down to 21%. When onions don't they flood the market and you get local production, they go up. Not because somebody suddenly just threw a magic wand.
Just a couple of days ago, I was in an engagement. I did an engagement with some farmers wading into egg, poultry production and what have you, and then still they face huge problems with regards the competition at the market and the influx of what's in egg with the kind of the consumer. But nonetheless, let us share Honorable AKK. Let us share AKK. No, Imran, I come to you quickly. I come to you, but let us share Honorable AKK. You don't listen carefully rightfully from Imran's submission with regards to strides made by government in terms of same machines, talk about rest, and of course debunk your claims with regards to onions, where you say things don't move from side in detail.
Let's as the conversation they go, I'd be more practical. The biggest producer of onion at Salone, APC and Sons. Yeah. Go to APC and Sons, then shop them all over Salone if they see the onions where they produce there. And that cash was given to me.
No, they're buying. Not lovely. That's why I go all the time.
Imran, don't offend the people of Sierra Leone.
No,
you know what? No, you know one decent Sierra Leone.
No.
I don't look at this. No, wait.
Hand on heart. Now we see me buy. I was
you know how they laugh?
2.5 weeks ago.
You know how they laugh? You know how they laugh? You know how they laugh? Imran, you are one decent Sierra Leonean, and I know I see person go tag you and put in a social media for something we're not to true.
And that is why people trust with you.
So let me make my point.
But then they make people trust with you. You cannot get any reason for selling otherwise.
They don't sell what they produce. Yeah, and by right, government empower them for going to the agriculture sector, so we go see we products them at the market. It's not there. That's one. Secondly, they talk about WFP buying 30% of their rice now. Now they begin by rice, not mean say rice production don't go up. Get it clear. I come from one of the rice bowls in Sierra Leone. So now they decide for use local rice for do school feeding. That not mean say the rest not be there. The rest be there. And I want to tell you again, say, now part of the package for enhance with farmers them at the borderline, not for they sell the rest over to Guinea, make WFP begin buy from them. Not because there is a boost in agriculture production. No, Imran.
So how do you get rice to the quantum of 30% if the rice is not available locally?
So get this.
Somebody must be producing
get this clear. I want you to listen to my analysis. They are buying what they are using for school feeding now. And waiting they buy 30% of the school feeding program that they buy in country, meaning they were not buying in country. That does not mean there were no food rice in country. I come out, Imran.
So the question would be, why did they buy and why did they buy now?
Imran. If WFP ready for buy 100% of what they supply to the schools, they can buy all inside Salone.
There was not a deliberate policy towards rice production.
You. This is the difference now. This is the difference from what you're talking.
I don't want to say
wait. Imran, we are not just talking to ourselves, we're talking to people to understand.
So WFP
has made a deliberate policy to buy in country.
Because of the
that is not production increase.
Why do not be done?
Production increase.
But you don't think that because they're available make them think that moves?
It has always been available. Imran, last said this. I am not born Nabo or Moyamba. I'm born na Cambia. Also, I play the produce rice.
One of that producer na Cambia come out.
Exactly. So the one of the people they sell WFP now. You understand? Marine Eka has always been producing high scale of rice. And they sell Nabamo Luma to me. Now they sell rice na Girimane me they can buy them. All WFP they do now for do internal sourcing and buying here for empower the farmers them. That is not in any way saying agricultural production don't increase. No, they are only buying in country. But let me come to this. I am happy you're celebrating 20% of buying in country. But you also, I hope so they celebrate the 82% of hunger. Food insecurity within the country. WFP also talk about. You're not celebrating that. You're also not celebrating the fact, say, you're saying importation dropped by 13%. If you check what in government said it is safe because of the importation will drop in forex, you check the money we don't spend in agriculture in the last 7 years, the deficit in terms of losses to the nation is huge compared to the import reduction.
Government saying
let me come.
As a result of increased production of rice? If you check, then that means it's something they have.
No, that's what you're saying. You're saying it is reduced by 13%. But let me be clear to you. Let me be clear. No, let me be clear to you.
Now the data were available. That is factual.
You know why we? You know why we are not moved by your data anymore? Now I tell you, there is single digit in inflation. just 2 days ago, they scrap them off and telling us that 28.4% inflation in the country.
Quickly.
Let me land.
Quickly.
Yeah. Where we are as a nation, are people able to buy staple food? Do they have the earning? Because again, when you talk about imports of rice, it's being influenced by the demand and supply. Simple basic economics. Imran, if you ask your neighbor them, maybe they cook 6 cup rice. Now they're able to cook 4 cup rice. So it tell upon the importation where they come inside, because the businessman they look for profit. So if I they buy how many ton rice I sell within 3 months. Now I buy the same quantum I sell inside 6 months. I get for reduce my importation. That's simple, because most of the business people bring in rice. Now loan they go take. So they go take loan, I have to pay for I bring huge amounts of rice. We know they sell on time. So in actual sense,
why not they sell on time?
Because the demand don't drop. People cannot afford.
We staple food.
Yes. Not everybody.
Imran.
I grew up in
coming from. That is demand.
You want to ask
Imran and Honorable AKK.
Imran. When it comes to data, I am seated on data.
Honorable AKK.
No, I am seated on data. It's simple. Maybe your level of interaction has dropped with your people.
No.
If you go to your community, no, but it's simple.
Honorable Imran. Now quickly, Honorable Imran. Now quickly, this not the priority of the government in this second term. But essentially, the Maputo Protocol make clear say countries across.
You don't get data.
Maputo Protocol
the demand for rice because people don't get money for buying.
Maputo Protocol make.
So Sierra Leoneans, are you saying Sierra Leoneans are living in affluence?
No.
Honorable.
Are you saying salaries have increased?
Honorable.
Are you saying no, Imran? You want to talk about data? Let's talk about the. No, these are the things that form the data. No, these are the things that form the data. Are you saying the salary has increased?
That is not the.
Is that what you're saying? Are you saying the Leone is appreciating? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying inflation is going down? Is that what you're saying? Imran. The fact say government will buy for a big fine with the cover on ourselves when I know they see the reality. I want you to understand the people of Sierra Leone are suffering.
Honorable and Imran.
No. This program. You want to kill the program.
I need to make this conversation.
Allow please.
My point is this. If me sit down now and say, the demand for rice don't drop, now that make people not they buy, now that make the one the way they import, they take longer now for sale and all the imports are suffering and blah, blah, blah. I should be able to quote the source, just as he's happy. On all other things that we done, they talk
Imran, I want to help you. Not kill this debate. No, not help you. No, I want to help you. I want to help. I want to help.
Honorable and Imran.
Just quote.
Honorable and Imran. Now, with a look at, I was just.
If you don't get them, then.
Honorable and Imran, you think of the reduction in the price of imported rice.
That's a faulty premise.
Whereas, many science and say farmers them, local farmers and get plenty money in their pockets. But Imran, how many Saloma if you say will afford currently the cost of a bag of rice? I mean, locally produced rice. We President Tina the rice we what any the cut under the fine for rice early morning.
My brother, I remember, and I'm being very vivid now.
You know the cost of locally rice.
I'm being very vivid now. Leading up to the elections in 2023.
No, answer for this question.
If it's the price for
answer for this question.
You know how much they sell wala rice per bag?
I need for answer them in a way where I think say appropriate for the people who they consume.
Because you need to wala rice, man.
I don't think.
For people who they consume this particular conversation, let's just make this point. 2 years before election, I mean the economy was challenged, right? Inflation did go up, price of essential commodities and blah did go up. So we faced a headwind going into the elections, and people understood exactly where the president was coming from. And Guillaume in second and final term, right, through the ballots, right, for serve as president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Now, at that same day, rice was 1 million, slightly over 1 million. No, so? For the better part leading up to
which of the rest did they talk about?
Yes, now, all of them shops them, both.
Imported rice,
yes, will be the buyer, yes or not so. It get to $1 million, slightly above $1 million. And then all with AKK them in the talk length and they leading up to, hey, Brad, Joe, they go up, you don't pass 1 million, save this, that. Here we are. The price of rice don't be reduced by 20%, right? And somehow it means nothing for AKK and others. It's not something for them to talk about. It's not something for them to even appreciate. Not to invite in something for, let them acknowledge in the process, right, of having the kind of conversation we don't want to forget, which is always a doomsday kind of theory. That is all they are happy to talk about, too, this doomsday kind of theory. My point is this. If rice importation, the cost of rice per bag don't be reduced by 20%, you can now go and get rice at around 650, 640, and then kind of it shows for me that something is working. That was what I said to you earlier. This conversation has to be segmented. Let us talk about what works and what has worked for the people in 2 years. Yeah? Nobody will come and begin to tell me, say it's a doomsday theory, like AKK one follow, all believe now, so, including the one that they listen to this conversation. It is not a doomsday theory. Things have worked. Where are we on a scale of 1 to 10? Which we need for do forget to a 6 to, from a 6 to 7 or 7 to 8. Let us have the kind of conversation where we go inform the public, where the public would digest and consume, and AKK can still be APC and criticize. Now when we come to the second segment in terms of how do we look forward, which if it's not the challenges, and then we can happily able for Sudan and fine-tune then kind of thing, and so that people understand that. I think it is wrong, right, and improper for let us sit down to talk about agriculture and food security, and somehow not acknowledge, say, oh, Yabasti, and somehow not acknowledge, say, oh, rice price don't come down. Nobody wants to talk about that. That somehow not acknowledge, oh, we now the export.
But Imran, as we talk, even with the FSRP project, Imran, even with the FSRP project, irrigation remains. Imran, allow me for land.
Honest conversation
Imran, land, please.
10 seconds. An honest conversation would now mean that for acknowledge all of them things then they don't happen these 2 years, and then we can now move forward and say, well, this is my own view now, away from this.
Imran, even with the FSRP projects, we are the government in lead projects in agriculture as we speak. Farmers wade into onion cultivation. Still they find it extremely hard for able to get adequate irrigation system. So for those where they are long, even Lungi, because none of the eyes down for onions, and even down the way they Kabbalah and Falaba. And they find them extremely difficult. And I mentioned egg. Wherein the farmers them still they grumble with regards the manner at which just a few set of foreigners they control the pricing formula for onions. The onions when they pull abroad, it takes almost months before you can reach Salone. We then come, now pull onions, then they come fling the people, and they make things difficult for egg. They make things difficult for poultry farmers. We see not for the maybe required progress where every Salonians for the expect at this particular moment.
Again. When we sit there and get a kind of conversation in there, without actually going to them people and they do them production and understand exactly within their own real life challenges that look like depending on the side and how much they produce, you're unable to better appreciate the efforts.
I don't report in this sector for 12 years, so I understand agriculture and finance. This is not the sector I don't report on.
I acknowledge that, I concede the point, yeah? But then you also get a conversation with somebody who is not a novice. I hope you understand who has moved around. I mentioned Jamji. Lam mentioned.
I don't go to Jamji farm several times. Not on colleague. Leone Mamela chief.
I have been there. I don't interview. We don't do.
I've done several stories on what's happening there.
There's another fellow I think it's in Bo Kenema, where I go to, where he gets I think about 1,000 birds, and he was producing. He gets about 400 cartons a day, and he said to me in that interview, and it was videotaped, then a good day somewhere in the social media. I'll plug them out at some point, someday, and send it to you. Let's just tell you what he said. He said that 400 cartons there is sold out. Sold out. Just by the time they package them every single day. And he was supplying, it was Bo, it was Kenema, he was doing Northwest, and he was also doing Kailau. Sold out every single day. It's the same for the guy na Bombali, fine things. Yeah,
big things.
Big things, exactly.
Petima.
Him is small, but himself also benefit from that World Bank agro processing where they call Exactly. And so, based on which they produced, it was actually sold out. My point is this, that the show you see, they're good signs, they're good indicators. It's how do we need to drill down and drill deeper. Yeah? For make sure, say, that fellow Nakenema, the before produce, scale up from 400, right, cartons a day to about 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and so on and so forth. When there be aspirations, by the way, we'll get that conversation later. Big things again, similarly, that was his aspiration. But in both of their instances, then, when me go for myself, this not a person tell me, I sat down, I spoke to them, we had a conversation as to how they feel grateful in terms of the intervention, where they get at that material point in time. And outside them, if don't they had they not been getting those interventions, outside the hope for reach to, right, with further interventions and then your personal effort. Now, if you do a sum total of all of those poultry farms in this country, and you do an aggregate in terms of which they produce on a daily basis, there's a reason why they're still in the business. They're not a doam because they want for doam and they do lip service and they're not benefiting anything. Otherwise, with or without support, right, you would shut down at some point, definitely. The fact that they have carried on for years, year after year after year, and if for anything, right, they're not a drop down in terms of the level of production. It shows that something is working in this sector. Let us have the basic courage. I encourage AKK now. Don't get the basic courage for acknowledge that, right? In as much as we try to look forward and say, okay, well, how can we tweak this? How do we change this? How do we make this work? Within the challenge at this particular area? You know, let give a wholesome picture, devoid of politics, because at the end of the day, look, he comes from Cambia. My maternal side na Putlako, Kafubulo. My paternal side na Mwemba, Yaoima. If agriculture works, feed Salone if it works. It's from me, AKK. And every single person.
Honorable AKK, we're at the point where the president just released 30 new varieties from the lead research institutes in this country, Slurry. And similarly, so with Suicide, the president launched the first ever seed multiplication center. Don't you think that's
the first ever seed?
Advanced seed testing center.
This is
Honorable AKK,
sorry.
Seed testing center where they forsisted and look inside the seed problem with Salone, because most of what the farmers then get really make them they get very lower production and productivity as a result of the fact now grains them in the plant. They seed all don't on granny. We not get seed when a young boy, young girl or small picking in the country. You don't think now I plus this for the sector?
No, I disagree with that assertion there. Because me and you know, and in fact, I will quote the president on this. He said, we go, was it Ukraine outside last visit? He said, then country, then they give back 7 or so more, where we only they suffer for get 1.5 or 2. So our soil acidity is also a problem.
No problem, sure.
So it's not just the seed. But as I say, I come out Cambia, as small and I grow up, they watch seed multiplication. What they call Kobia na Mambolo. Very close to Osai, Petitobini also today. So some of these things are not new to us. I think
that's around Rokel.
Yes, going towards the Rokel axis. So it's not new to us. The truth is, now the way we Imran and Kiwan rewrite with history for make like say everything starts with Madabi Okam. No. Let me say this. Imran, we still in a country where people struggle for buy yes. So egg production. If you ask people around your community when last they buy egg, when last they eat egg, will tell you say egg production, chicken, not to the basic need of Sierra Leoneans when it comes to food. So, and the kind of boom we they talk about, I would expect anyone for tell me say in your farm we make.
You get farm?
Of course, I'm a farm.
We see the plants.
If I'm in Akasada, they produce throughout the year. So I know it's not into agriculture. So you don't even understand the constraint we'll get into agriculture. It's only talking, waiting, they tell them. Again, you ask them, wait, you ask them, you don't get farm. You know how they get farm. You ask them the cost of a bag of rice. You know, when they talk about, oh, the rest go up, it can done. Imran, love me can this way. Yeah?
You know can done?
No, wait.
It can done?
You meet and done? You ace out?
No. It can done?
Now, do you be meter?
It can done from
you be meet and done? You meet and 200,000 Imran. This is where I have problems. When people talk about SFP, they talk about two things, two variables where I can always laugh.
Let us do the percentage.
I'm not laughing today because the program seems funny or the people who they listen. look funny. I dey laugh because this is a repeated thing with Imran they know they do, right? You met a bag of rice at 200,000. For the ordinary selling, that was just me at the time, at 200,000, the best quality rice in town. You ate them up to 1,200,000 to 1,300,000, and you count and done, and you expect we Sierra Leoneans for celebrate you for that day. That's moral injustice to the people. At least if you don't count and already 150, the world will join hands to celebrate you. But that's not what you've done. When I meet inflation at 9.8, when I take them up to 52, now when I don't count until 28, yet still you want we Sierra Leoneans for celebrate the SLP. No, we don't get that kind moral uprightness for celebrate the SLP. But let me come to this. The local rest who they produce. You know, I watched through when the president go Cambia. And the paramount way Alpha Cambi the for talk say, oh, the people they produce rest now. Now the paramount chief tell us say, the rest who they produce now will be the farm. He say, oh no, buita. Because the local bag of rice is still sold at 1.2 million. Where they buy almost a white rice of 2 bags. So if there is a mass production, as Imran and the Wale the public know, we all local rice will only pay for shipment, we will not pay for weight self. Now, outside the million and they sell them, it will be more cheaper than the one with the import. But I want to tell Imran, say, let us stop painting a picture of what we don't have. In the terms of agriculture, in terms of productivity, in terms of helping the farmers with funding, in terms of machinery, we are not there yet. And this is where we still find it very, very difficult. Imran, for like a country, able to boost in agriculture, you can forget a steady economy. Look at the World Bank report on the economy. They use 3 times per week. Where I am sure I have read other World Bank reports across the country or the world. We own, it is crystal clear. Look the pen, yeah, pen. You are right. It is crystal clear. There's a lack of financial discipline. In the first area, when it comes to the area of revenue, we generate revenue, there's a lack of discipline. We not just get discipline. With fiscal discipline as a country, it's totally rubbish. This is coming from a reputable institution like the World Bank. Yeah. When it comes to expenditure, how they spend government money, we know they generate them. Let's just divert a bit. This is where it is painful. What Imran and non doing in this country is unforgivable. Then take most of the government entity them where they create income for government and privatize them. At least I didn't in parliament, they talk about their mobile company here. The whole thing is, it is not the MNOs that are selling the internet. Now Imran and take the only source where government gets of internet, then privatize them to a private person where they charge the MNOs. This is very important. Then get into private company. This private company, they charge Orange and Africell huge amount of money. Now you want Africell for sell at a cheaper cost. It doesn't work that way. What Imran not succeed for the way World Bank they tell we now is when they tell we say when it comes to revenue, we have been totally financially indisciplined. It comes to expenditure, we spend more than we get as a nation. Come to budget overruns. Go to certain ministries, then they spend what make the count then 3 factors here where World Bank count it. It shows a clear picture of where we are with the economy and why we cannot boost our agricultural productivity. So some of these things are not a 1 day back for the 1 day.
Imran, now
they all ask you for, you know, give me.
No, this I want you now.
Imran, how you feel say we can able to get things better with the feed salary initiative? Most of way, you know, agriculture are the president in priority, but we still see budgetary allocation to that sector not still reach the 10% where government say then we'll see ways to allocate to the sector. It's one of the sectors that we not get too much money in terms of government allocation to it.
You know, yesterday we've been in APC, and I was asked a question. In the same sort of mindsets where you ask this why I saw, and then they may get for do it school picking there,
okay.
And the fact that public exams is free at the expense of government, MPSC, BK and WASC, yeah. And the question was, well, still you see picking in a street. Which down they mean for the president in statement where he been say, every Pekin by right supposed to get access to education. And I said to the individual at Epic Radio, and I see you questioning that same sort of mindset there, which is, certain things are aspirational, and you're supposed to be able to understand what is aspirational, because if
land.
Because if you don't get the aspiration, then you do not have a vision. In the absence of an aspiration and a vision, you cannot be able to now transform those ideas into policies, plans, and programs to make them work. Yeah. So look, on healthcare, on agriculture, those are the aspirations. You mentioned the 10%. It is not there yet. It's an aspiration. We have to. Yeah. And definitely, it is how we get to that point. That is the aspiration. Now that make it is contained in a policy, yeah, as part of a broad policy in the medium-term national development plan 2024 to 2030. I am saying, at this material point in time, let us also look, because you mentioned 10%, we talk about money now, not so? Huh? We get over 800 million. We don't be pledged with $250 million already earmarked for livestock, cassava, and rural roads. We also don't kick off a 10 million credit facility for modern equipment and introduce Sierra Leone's first ever crop insurance scheme. For the very first time in this country, we don't go digital with soil mapping and sign over up to 300,000 farmers using biometric data, helping us to create a sleek modern farming setup. We're also working on 420 kilometers of feeder roads and new bridges to make it easier for farmers to reach the market. The sector, this whole agricultural sector, it makes up 12% of our GDP. So it is crucial to handle it wisely. In 2024, it already begin for bringing money, millions of dollars, smashing with revenue targets in that particular sector there. Yeah. So thanks also to a new quota management system, we now they set up more than try for more than double the revenue while still safeguarding our fish stock. We also don't go digital, right, with the fisheries data. Rolled out aquaculture and inland fishery policy, and we also don't start a closed fishing season to let fish stock bounce back. We are gearing up for industrial fish production to hit 150,000 metric tons. Now, that's a good basis, yeah, for now move on to within AKK start off with, right, in the initial part of this conversation. How do we now move forward? How do we scale up? What are the challenges, right? Based on the feedback, then what would they get? How do we now make sure rice production, right, go up? How do we now make sure that the next WFP report not going to mention 30%, but instead we mention 40, 45, 50%? How will we be able to make sure that $50 million now we don't save, yeah, we cancel the importation of rice, we will double down from 15 to 30 million US dollars. And again, are you surprised as to why we get stability now in the exchange rates? Fiscal policies involve quite a lot of things. It's very complex and dynamical. Yeah? If you're saving millions of dollars and you not get the desire and the need for them, or big private businesses not get the desire and the need for the X amount of dollars, and what it means is the demand for the dollar naturally reduced, and it creates stability. That make we see now marginally the exchange rate they cannot. He's happy to talk about inflation. Now, COVID hits. Inflation spiral out of control. Yeah, when we take over, when His Excellency the President became president in April of 2018, inflation was about 18-19%. I think saying that side of it,
9.8.
Google. That's not true.
Hey, Google.
That's not true. When we take over,
no, who they are so detailed positive, so not to Google.
And we see inflation be the kind of small until COVID hit, and then because of so many things that will happen globally, we see inflation back down to who side it actually supposed for this.
Still need to double
and the ambition, and the ambition and the focus is how do we get it down even further. So I will give practical examples.
This year we get more cuts in the budget than even it will be austerity. I think that would be worrisome to Imran. For the first time in the history of Sierra Leone, we import cover is 1.5 months. now, as we speak.
You think them for still declare this constitution? Okay. You think so we still live austerity?
How's how they say pass austerity?
I mean,
so this is what I want Imran to understand. See, if the picture you want to paint of our country's agriculture sector is real, it means that we don't get enough foreign reserve because we don't need them more for import. But I want to say to Imran on a more serious note and on a lighter note, let us understand when we get opportunity for speak on behalf of the people, say we're not doing so because we want to make other people happy for us, but we want to reflect the true picture of our nation and how it affect the people. I come on area where every day I see farmers, they constrain. Somebody just said on the Facebook page say most of the farmers in Cambia they sell less to Guineans. That trade is something I've been doing when I was young, and I still see me people they do them. During the raining season, when it is deep of the rain, the farmers don't have money, and this was the importance of the agricultural banks we aim and they not give presents to. So the Guineans they cross over can give people the money, then buy the rest at a cheaper cost. So if we talk about all of this agricultural boost, if we people can get enough support in the agriculture, at least enough for the happen to be. So my last part in word is, let us don't play politics with our people. What in the field today, now the same thing we don't do in the last 10 years. Even when they're not governance, they still they feel safe. Oh, even Pakaba be there. When I tell me things a lot get it don't mean nothing. So now we're telling you that what you're doing is not enough. Because you know what you do? You feel so able to say, oh yes, we don't start agriculture because we don't start agriculture now a good strive. But what we not promise in more than what we not don't do. That's the truth.
So many sons not happy.
No, what we not don't do, I not do nothing we make we reflective.
So you say we to promise him.
Imran, that's I want to tell you that you want if I get time, I will tell you to not promise in agriculture.
I just struggle for understanding now.
No, you don't need to understand. No, not to you had to talk to.
From when you start this
conversation. You want to
talk
to? He asked the question and I answered to the people.
Imran Sillah,
You're not the moderator.
I want to play.
No, Imran, from when you start this conversation. Now you don't concede to my point. That's something that happened. He said, enjoy the field, say not enough.
Imran Sillah,
I say not enough. You've not done anything as a country. You don't take me to the most reckless economy in Africa.
Why take you 1 hour now for concede to that?
Honorable Abdul Karim Ahmed Kamara, I want to say plenty to you for we take it in for be part of the Hot Seats program, and similarly to Imran Sillah, where we apologize. So we versed on the Facebook page, a lot of messages then, but unfortunately, we're not able to go through them. Samuel Ibrahim Kroma to meet again for another edition of the Hot Seats program. As you get yourself a wonderful time. Don't forget, they repeat the camp to you on Wednesday at exactly